We are now just hours from Election Day, with races that will give us new information about Americans' views of the president and both parties 1 year after Donald Trump's election and 1 year before the midterms, a critical time. In Virginia, Democrat Abigail Spanberger is seeking to flip the governor's mansion back to blue in her race against Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears, while in New Jersey's gubernatorial election, Democrat Mikey Sherrill is looking to hold off a challenge from the Republican Jack Ciattarelli. Now, former President Obama, he was out on the trail, and he was appearing this weekend for both Spanberger and Sherrill and trying to tie Ciattarelli to President Trump.
Her opponent, not so much. Mikey's opponent has now run for governor 3 times in a row. I mean, I believe in persistence, but at a certain point. So 3 times in a row. Other 2 times he lost. So this time his strategy is to suck up to the Republicans in Washington.
Meanwhile, Zoran Mamdani, the 34-year-old Democratic socialist, is seeking to become New York City's next mayor. Mamdani has become a lightning rod among Republicans, and the House's top Democrat, Hakeem Jeffries, is pushing back on the idea that he is the future of the Democratic Party.
Do you see Mamdani as the future of the Democratic Party?
No, I think the future of the Democratic Party is going to fall, as far as we're concerned, relative to the House Democratic Caucus and members who are doing a great work all across the country as it relates to our need to both take back control of the House, but in doing so, make sure that we're communicating to the American people like we understand you deserve better than the country that you have received.
And over the weekend, President Trump falsely describing Mamdani as communist and threatening to withhold funding for New York City if he wins tomorrow. Joining me now from New Jersey is NBC News correspondent Julie Tsirkin and NBC News chief data analyst Steve Kornacki, who joins me from the big board with even more from our new NBC News poll. Let me start with you, Julie. Democrats are trying to tie Ciattarelli to the Republican, he is the Republican in New Jersey, to President Trump. And what is the response? What are you seeing?
Well, Ciattarelli is not really looking to be tied to Trump in that way, though he did embrace him, and of course Trump endorsed him. He's holding a tele-rally for him tonight. Ciattarelli knows that this is a blue state with a blue state government, and he needs to make sure that he still attracts independents and, yes, even some Democrats, which is exactly where he was here in a Democratic town, a Latino town, Dover, New Jersey, a couple of months ago, the day after he won the primary. I met him here. I spoke to him here. I went back and I visited some of the voters. Again, they are extremely split. Many of them voted for President Trump. Many of them who voted for President Trump telling me that because of the immigration, ICE raids, the deportations, they've soured on their support for him. Still, a healthy amount looking to support Ciattarelli tomorrow. Here's a little bit of our conversation and exchange this morning.
What do you credit with your tightening margins with Mikey Sherrill? Is it the president? Is it his backing? His approval ratings are not great.
It's the positive energy that's been demonstrated by this campaign from day one. We get up and down the state, we shake hands, we look people in the eye, we tell them how we're going to solve their problems. That's what wins elections.
What about the economy, sir? The ratings nationwide, the president's handling of it are not as high. That was his biggest issue.
You keep asking me about national issues. This is about New Jersey.
It's reflecting in New Jersey.
It's all about property. It's all about property taxes. It's all about monthly electricity bills. It's about public safety, public education. Development. Those are New Jersey issues that my opponent wants to blame on the president. He's got nothing to do with any of those things.
So clearly trying to put some daylight, Kelly, between him and the president. I bring up this town that I'm in Passaic County for a reason. I'm sure Steve Kornacki is going to talk about it more, because back in 2020, President Biden beat Donald Trump in this county, again, primarily Latinos, especially in this town, by 35,000 votes, more than that. In 2024, Kamala Harris beat Donald Trump by 5,000 votes. So that is why they're paying so much attention to this area, Kelly.
And Julie, I love when you have a really Jersey moment with the Jersey Paul. That was great. That really told us what it's like to be on the ground. So thank you for your work in the field. And Steve, tell us, what does the big board indicate about tomorrow and Election Day? You've got new data for us. Break it all down.
Yeah, Kelly, these are some pretty tough numbers in our new NBC News poll for the president and for his party on the eve of these off-year elections in New Jersey and Virginia. This is our generic ballot question. We ask this all the time. Which party do you want to see control Congress? This is with an eye to next year's midterm elections. But check this out. We have the Democrats with an 8-point advantage here on the generic ballot over Republicans. For some comparison, we checked in earlier this year in the spring, and this was essentially dead even. It was +1 for the Democrats then. It is +8 for the Democrats now. So again, this poll showing Trump's approval rating falling to 43% and showing Democrats opening up a lead on the generic ballot. Also seeing a bit of an enthusiasm difference between the parties. This is measuring who has the highest level of interest in the midterm elections. I mean, this number, 66% overall, that's extremely high. We're still a year away from the midterms. You would normally see this number like a week before the midterms. We're seeing it a year out, but you can see there is a bit of a disparity. It's about 3/4 of Democrats, only about 2/3 of Republicans with that highest level of interest. So again, could be driving some of the Democratic advantage in that generic ballot. Also could be a factor in those elections tomorrow in Virginia and in New Jersey. Also, there's the Republicans, this is sort of their hope, the hope they draw from our poll. It's that the Democratic Party has an image problem. You could see here, positive 28% about the Democratic Party as a whole, negative almost twice that. An outright majority, 53% of voters with a negative view of the Democratic Party. Now, the Republicans, by contrast, they're not popular, they're just less unpopular. So an advantage for the Republicans there. And then we asked about the economy. The Republicans, which party would do better on it? The Republicans with a 1-point advantage. But the news here is that's way down. For the last several years, Republicans have had a decided, generally double-digit advantage on this question. In the last few months, that has basically moved into a wash between the two parties. Again, Trump getting low marks, particularly for how he handles the economy. And then we basically asked, what do you want your vote to mean? Do you want it to be a sign of support for the president, opposition, or not really either one of them? And again, you can see there's more energy on that opposition side. So we've seen the opposition party, Kelly, tend to do well in the past in these off-year elections like we're going to see tomorrow, tend to do well in the midterm elections. The polling data we have here from our new readout is in line with that. So be very interesting to see those results tomorrow in light of what this poll is telling us today.
Well, it's certainly getting me interested in what happens tomorrow, because when you talked about that enthusiasm level in the midterms a year away, when so many of us think of a lot of the public being a bit weary of politics, and yet the numbers reveal there is some real interest in being able to use your voice as a voter. Is that what you're taking away from this?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'm looking at tomorrow, beyond obviously who wins and loses, is what is the turnout level in these elections in New Jersey, in Virginia, also in New York City, by the way, where we're getting some look at the early voting data in the mayor's race there, showing, potentially record-shattering overall turnout there as well. So, yeah, that level of interest, are we just seeing it in the number of people who vote, whoever they're voting for?
Well, you're always our main event on Election Day, so rest up, be ready for tomorrow. Don't know if it'll be an early night or a late one, but we'll be looking for all of your analysis as the data comes in. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Kelly.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.